Hi, welcome to the Shelley Studio. Today, this segment is called Inspired By. Not too long ago, I watched Froyle and her friend Libby. Libby was showing her how to do gel prints using Vaseline as a resist, so I thought I'd give it a try. The paper I'm doing it on is just, I was making labels, and this was just kind of a pickup paper. So I just figured I would try it on this, and then if I liked the results, I'd try it on another print. So I do two prints, but basically what you're doing is you're putting the Vaseline down through the stencil, and it's going to create a resist when you use it on the gel plate. Now, I've done this resist technique years ago, but just with a paintbrush. And I'll link that in case you're interested so you can see that technique, which I did a really small project with it, and I thought it worked pretty well. And I thought this was a good idea. Maybe I put too much Vaseline on. I thought this was a good idea doing this, but yeah, that's a lot of Vaseline. Maybe a less is more kind of situation. See how much Vaseline's on there? So once that you get it in all the spaces, now we're going to put some paint down on the gel plate and try to lift it. And I went for blue. I probably should have gone for a more contrasting color, but blue's my favorite. I kind of just go for blue a lot. And yes, I am using prints that I've already made, obviously. But it doesn't matter what you do on the gel plate, you end up generating more prints. Because here's that one. I'm going to set it aside to dry a little bit. And in the meantime, I've got all this paint. So we've got to lift it up, right? So I'm going to pull it with some wet strength tissue paper. Now it's got an interesting pattern. But yeah, I think it's plenty rubbed, Margelle. Lift it off. That was a lot of paint. Maybe too much paint? I don't know. I was hoping for better results. Now, you haven't seen anything yet because I'll bring it back in and we'll give it a rub down. In the meantime, I have paint left on my brayer, so we're going to use it. And I think I cleaned off my stencil. I think I wiped it down off camera. So got the Vaseline off of it for the most part. These are all going to have to be washed because they're so greasy now. Just trying to pick up in the grooves. And this stencil is also a PM Artist Studio stencil. I was trying to get it to stay on the plate, but there was no way. And then keep the same registration, but I end up just deciding to try to line it up. And it doesn't lift it anyway, so it didn't really make a difference. That might have lifted a little bit, just to add more interest to that one. Oh, and that stencil is called Melty Morocco by PM Artist Studio. Just trying to get some of that paint off the stencil. But I decide I want to wipe it down a little bit. It still feels really greasy. Like even the paper, like everything just feels greasy. And I'm not scrubbing really hard, and I'm going along with the lines just to try and not damage the stencil. So I'm not scrubbing very hard. You can soak them like in a tub or something to get them clean, but I don't usually do that. So I'm putting that down. I was gonna start that, and I decided that the other one is probably dry enough that I can wipe the Vaseline and the paint off so we can see what it looks like. And it is a cool effect, but it's a lot of work. Like, if I'd had a paper towel, I didn't have a paper towel. So I ended up using baby wipes, but I would definitely use a paper towel or a cloth or something to wipe the majority of that off, and then get the final bits off with a baby wipe. Just so you're not wasting so many baby wipes. I actually end up taking both of my prints to the bathroom, and I lay them on the counter, soap up my hands, and soaped the surface. Trying to get them clean because they were so greasy from that Vaseline. All right, so the next one, since I tried it once, now this is the print. It was made in a previous session, gel printing session, and I'll link that if you're interested in how I made that print. And that's another PM Artist Studio stencil. Oh, for this one, it has some white on there, and I wanted to preserve the white, so I'm actually putting some matte medium on there, hoping that will help preserve the white, and it'll be easier to wipe the Vaseline off. So I figured if the Vaseline went onto raw paper, there could be an issue. So that's what I was doing. Just sealing it off. And I let it dry. You don't see that, but I do let it dry. And this is the stencil that Froyle's friend Libby used on her project. I loved the way hers turned out. I'm not that thrilled with mine, but I have to admit, my original paper is super busy. Maybe if it was simpler with a less pattern. Don't necessarily want to say fewer colors, like maybe, yeah, bigger color blocks maybe. I mean, I would say I'd try this again, but it was so messy. I don't know if I'd try it again or not. But, gosh, I created a page back when Shannon Green was doing the Inspiration Conspiracy, and our Inspiration Conspiracy group did a hop, and the technique was called peeled paint. And I'd seen it on YouTube. Never did find the person that I saw do it the first time, but yeah, it's been around, and a lot of you have probably seen something like it. I had just never seen it used with the gel plate, which actually I thought was a good idea. I just think maybe I would do a smaller thing. Less Vaseline. I mean, look how many times I just dip into that. Well, whenever my finger, as I'm rubbing those, whenever my finger hit dry and didn't move, then I'd get more Vaseline. So that was my test for the Vaseline. So there that is, all greased up, ready to go. And yeah, now we're going to pick a color. And again, I go for blue. A different shade, of course. I was hoping this would be opaque. And pretty sure it's fairly opaque. So it'll be a good test, right? putting that down. Sorry you didn't see it, but that's the Vaseline covered print. And it is just on recycled paper. So I set that aside to dry a little bit. You want the paint that's actually touching the surface to dry a little bit. And then you can wipe the paint that's on top of the Vaseline off. That's the idea, anyway. And just cleaning up the plate. All right, so here it is. And I did put cardboard in that, and then I'm drying it a little bit just to speed up the process. I didn't let it get hot. I don't want to get heat on my gel plate. I know there's some people that blow dry. I don't think they use a heat tool, but I just avoid that with my gel plate. I don't want to damage it. They're too expensive. So here I am, wiping it off. What do we think? I don't know. There's some interesting areas where you can almost see the scripting. And that might be more noticeable if there were more solid color blocks behind it rather than all that busy pattern. But there's so much pattern going on. It's really hard to see. I do have kind of close-up pictures at the end so you can really see the resist and the peeled paint sort of effect on it at the end. Yeah, I would suggest a paper towel or a cloth of some kind. All right, so I wanted to add, I think I add white back in. I felt like this one was really kind of dull. And so I'm doing Vaseline again over the top. And I shifted the stencil just a little bit. So we're getting kind of a different area. That's the idea anyway. So you can see both parts. And the print that was underneath this was just kind of a scrap anyway. So if we mess it up really bad, it's just paper and we don't worry about it. But yeah, again, rubbing probably too much Vaseline in there. Vaseline goes a long way, actually. I could probably have gotten a lot less on there and still had a good effect. I don't know. So I think I add white. So this is just titanium white. I wanted to lighten it up. I need to swatch out all my paints. Should get me some labels and swatch some labels so I can tell at a glance what's opaque and what's not. There's some that I just know, but it'd be nice to know right away. Look, you can see the oil from the Vaseline going through the paper. So there's that. It's got to dry a little bit before we wipe it. And then I'm just going to pull this up with my scrap paper because it's white. Just a white piece of paper. All right. So I think I dry this one a little bit too. You didn't see that, but, and then we're going to wipe. Maybe the white is more noticeable as a resist. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think of this technique? You gonna try it? I will link Froyle's video down below so you can go check out, the professional. and see what you think. I'm not sure if Froyle was too enthralled with the technique, but Libby's project looked really cool. Yeah, I think she was kind of like me. It was like, it's a bit messy. And like I said, I took these papers to the sink along with the stencils and washed them with soap. Just the surface, the paint side of the papers, not the other side that's still absorbent. But they just felt so oily. This one, I think I decide it needs help. So why don't we just go ahead and add another layer? So we're adding more Vaseline. I wonder if it would work if you used a brush, because it felt really hard to rub that in between all those little bits with my fingers. Like I would catch, there you go, see? I would catch on the stencil and pull on it. But maybe if I did it with a brush or a sponge, it would create less friction. Maybe give me a more even, I don't know. I keep thinking of these ways to try it differently. You guys all, if you want to try it, you give that a try. Tell me how it went. I challenge you all to try this technique. And Vaseline is, do they call it petroleum jelly? So if you don't have, the Vaseline brand, I don't think it would work with anything runnier, like an oil. You couldn't do it because it wouldn't stay in its space. It would kind of flow. All right, and since this stencil was from a project that included pink, lime green, and purple, even though I added blue, I'm going to add some green back in, I think. So uncover the gel plate. And to make sure this is, well, I want it a little lighter, but also add some titanium white to help ensure that it is opaque. And I'm just going to mix it right on the plate. You have to be careful when you do that. You can get buildup on the sides of your brayer and it can cause issues, but I don't know. So I think it makes it easier to peel. All right, and then that's going straight down on there. And I'm rubbing it good. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it though. I don't put tons of pressure. So there we have, completely covered it in the green. Hope that it works. And look, yet another print of a solid, semi-solid color. I'll flip through all the pages so you can see all the extras that I made. Just working with 2 prints. Okay, so here's that, and I also hit that with the heat tool a little bit before coming in and wiping. I think the green helped. Here, I'm gonna wipe it with a coffee filter because I have one of those. I have a ton of those. And then I am rubbing pretty good. I'm trying not to go through the paper. I'm not going through the paper. I'm not rubbing quite that hard. But once they were all washed and dried, here they are. So there's that one. It's got interesting, it's sort of interesting. And there's the other one. And then here's all the papers that are the result of this particular printing session. That's what happens. No matter what you do on the gel plate, you end up with extra stuff. And I have a couple of close-ups here of the 2 main pieces. As you can see, there's some interesting texture there. I just took a couple of close-ups and then a more overall of both of them. So let me know what you think. Did you like it? You gonna try it? If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.